Lovely to see you all this morning. I'm absolutely delighted to welcome James Shone. He is from the charity I Can and I Am. I'm going to pass over to him. I'm looking forward to hearing him speak. Thank you.
Brilliant. Good morning to you all. It's great to be here. And I'm conscious that I've got a little less than half an hour to share a presentation that's normally about 45 minutes. So I'm going to go quite fast if that's okay. So I'm going to share with you my story. I'm going to talk a lot about self-belief, which I think is really important in today's world, and then what we as a charity are doing to try and help young people with their self-belief. So my story, guys, is I'm married. I have 4 children, 21 down to 13, and I taught for 16 years, and 9 of those years I was a boys' housemaster. And back in 2012, I applied to become head teacher of Monkton Prep School up on the edge of Bath. And it's my first headship that I'd applied for. I was 39, and a surprise to me, I think a surprise to quite a lot of people, I got that job. And at that time, girls, it was all good news. We were going to be living in a nice head teacher's house. Our 4 kids could go through the school, beautiful grounds, lovely facilities, boom, 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 all good. I was asked to go for a medical. And a medical was actually... Initially, I was quite excited to go for a medical. I thought, wow, what happens in a medical? Well, actually, it was at that medical that a dodgy eye was observed. Then I went to an optician, then I went for an MRI scan, and that's when I was diagnosed with a large brain tumour. And folks, I get quite moved as I share this, because I'll never forget going home having got this news, and it was the 3rd week of the summer holidays, and we were due as a family to be flying off to Greece on the Saturday morning. Well, it was a Friday at about 5 p.m, and we came home and we sat our 4 children down on the sofa and we said, we can't go to Greece. What? They were devastated. And then I said, and Daddy's got a brain tumour. And my eldest child, who was then 10 or 11, looked at me with his chin wobbling, and he just asked this question, Dad, are you going to die? Now, folks, I probably thought I was, but I remember saying to him, my boy, I'm going to fight. And it's been a fight, girls, a real fight. In many ways, it still is a bit of a fight. So I had 27 hours of brain surgery, that's quite a lot, 80 days in hospital. But the biggest challenge came after my 2nd surgery, and that's my sight loss. So you can see my white stick down here. So I've got no sight in my left eye, and I've got about 5% vision in my right eye. So that meant that I had to let go of the job, and not wanting your pity, but if I compare 2012, the job, the career, the house, everything was all good. 2013, and I can still remember the day where it really did hit me that I had no job. I didn't know where we were going to live. I couldn't see, I had no energy, but on the other hand, I had 4 kids, I had a wife, I was only 40. It wasn't time to retire. And actually, girls, many of my challenges rumble on today. I can't drive a car, I can't run, my balance is awful. The only game I try and play, I used to play a lot of golf. I was a 5 handicap, if that means anything to any of you. But now when I play, I hit the ball and I have no idea where the ball's gone. So it's a real it's a form of pastoral care, I always say, playing golf with me. But you see that sandwich in the bottom corner of that slide? I used to spend a lot of time on trains. And I'm always really nervous if the train carriage is full, because actually I've got so little sight, I might sit on someone's knee, which would be really, really inappropriate, wouldn't it? But on this one occasion, I sat on a man's homemade sandwiches. And this man was so cross, and he shouted out for the whole carriage to hear, "Are you blind?" He was so cross. And I held out my white stick and I said, "Yes, I am." And I think the whole carriage thought that was quite funny. It was like Monty Python. So folks, all the time I'm doing slightly daft things, but that gives you a context as to who I am. So what happened next? Well, we bought a small house up on the edge of Bath, a place called Combe Down, and our 4 children would go off to school in the morning, and I would get up and I would put on a nappy, because that's all I could wear at that time. And I'd put on my dressing gown, and I would bum shuffle, ba-boom, ba-boom, down the stairs. I couldn't probably walk. I'd hold on to the back of a door and the back of a sofa, and I would get myself to my white chair. Now, my white chair, guys, was where I did life. I was 40, but really I was living like a 90-year-old. There I was. In the chair, I did probably one of 4 things. Principally, I used to sleep. A lot of the time, I'd be fast asleep in the chair. I also used to listen to the radio. I couldn't read a book, I couldn't watch TV because I couldn't see it. But I'd listen to the radio. Thirdly, I would drink tea. I used to drink a lot of tea. But fourthly, people used to come and see me. And usually it's, how are you? And pretty rubbish, really. But I remember this one man came to see me, and he basically was a life coach. Now, what life coaches do, they help plot the next steps. And he said to me, James, what's your passion? And I said, my passion is to help young people, just like you girls here at Talbot Heath, is to get young people to believe in who they are and what they can do. Believe in who you are and what you can do. So folks, I feel like these 2 words of self-belief are a big challenge for young people. I say it for my own children. I say it for having been a teacher for a number of years. Why is it such a big challenge? I would say self-belief is even more of a challenge than it was when I was a pupil at school. I went to a boarding school, a boys' boarding school. Actually, it wasn't highly pleasant, but we all sort of came through with self-belief. What is the challenge? Why is self-belief? I've had a bit of a brain dump on that slide, girls. There are lots of things. It might be COVID. COVID wasn't good news, was it? It might be the weather, it might be exams. I feel like our school education culture is very driven towards examination results. But girls, can I pick up on one thing? And that is social media. Now, it seems that everybody now has a mobile phone. You can't kind of exist without a mobile phone. And mobile phones, brilliant as they are, I'm not going to stand here and go, oh, awful. I'm going to say mobile phones are amazing. But why do they cause problems? I think social media causes problems because often young people are trying to kind of almost celebritize their lives. They're trying to say, look at me, don't I look amazing? Look at my house, look where I'm on holiday. It's that sort of showing off and trying to pretend that we live the perfect life. And let's be honest, girls, let's all be honest and actually know our lives aren't perfect. I think, I can't see any of you, but it is the reality that when you're between 11 and 17, you're kind of morphing from a young child to an adult. You're changing. So what that means is that hormonally you're up and you're down. So now chuck in that variable of pressure on social media, and we get obsessed by how many likes and how many followers. So I think social media is causing a lot of pressure. So girls, I want to talk to you about my balloon. Now folks, I want you all, every single one of you, you guys too, every single one of you, I want you to imagine that you have a balloon within you. And that balloon represents the way you feel about yourself. And when our balloons are inflated, two things are a reality. One, we don't battle with mental health. Hallelujah. And two, we're resilient. And that's what employers want more than anything else. But you know what, guys? So many people finish their school journeys with a balloon that is deflated, a bit like that. And I sometimes liken this rather bleak sight of a deflated balloon to a deflated bike tyre. Let's say you girls, at the weekend, Sunday maybe, you go off for a bike ride on your bike. Now the back tyre of the bike is completely flat. And you go off on a mountain bike trail and you cycle along and you cycle through one or two potholes, you hit a curb or two, you go on bumpy roads. What's going to happen to the rim of the wheel inside the tyre? Well, it's going to get damaged, isn't it? But folks, in the same way, if our metaphorical balloons are deflated and we feel a bit rubbish about ourselves, and I don't know, we fail an exam, or we get dropped from a sports team, or we don't get invited to a party, or nobody likes what we put on Instagram, do you know what happens? It's us. It's our sense of self. It's who we are that gets damaged. So really simply, what I want to ask this morning is, how can Talbot Heath, every single one of you in this community, inflate your balloon of self-belief? Because that means no mental health problems, and it means resilience. Resilience, yes. So the first of my thought is that we are all individually unique. Now I'm going to lean on two things here. Firstly, the brilliance of Howard Gardner. He was a professor at Harvard University a long time ago, in the kind of 1990s, so 25 years ago or so. And he wrote this theory, and educators and clever people across the planet cannot deny that it's not true. Look what it says there. Don't ask how intelligent is X, but ask how is X intelligent. And what that is saying, girls of Talbot Heath, every single one of you in this hall this morning, you are all intelligent. Wow. What a statement. Take that one home. I often ask my children at the end of the day, what have you learned today? If you just say, I have learned that I'm intelligent. And folks, it is true. We're all intelligent in different ways. And so it was Howard Gardner that produced this theory, and it's interesting as you look at that wagon wheel from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, that's school-based intelligence. But there are other types of intelligence. I had a boy in my boarding house. I used to call him the hot cross bun. His name was Archie. Archie was good with people. Look at that, at 2 o'clock, that green segment. He was good with people. And if I said, Archie, can you mentor people? He would do that. Archie, could you show some prospective parents? And he could do that. And when he's got air in the balloon, girls, the challenge is, he was very dyslexic, the challenges of school and work were there for him. He could bounce back. And he's now an estate agent in London doing really well. So girls, we're all clever. As well as that, we all have a unique purpose. A unique purpose. What is it? It may be performing on this stage, it may be playing a musical instrument, or hockey, or netball, or it may be any one of those. That's great, because you can do it at school. But there might be other areas. I don't know, it might be making things, or mending things, or being kind, or adventure. You will have heard of Bear Grylls. When Bear Grylls was a boy at school, he battled academically, he battled with his sport. He didn't really know what he was good at. Then one summer when he was about 15 years old, he was climbing on the Isle of Wight, not far from here, and that's when he realised, this is what I love doing. And look what he's gone on and done. So girls, when we're in our place of purpose, air goes in our balloon as well. I always say playing computer games is a timeout. It's not a real balloon inflator. But maybe around that first point, there is actually something that we can all learn. Okay, moving on now. So we're going to go on to our second slide now. The second way that we can put air in our balloon is the challenge to move forward. I love this quote from Martin Luther King, who says, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. If you can't crawl, find some way to move forward. Guys, it's hardwired into us as human beings that we are made to make progress. And when we make progress, air goes into our balloon. Can I tell you a quick story? When I came out of hospital in November 2012, I had two big challenges. I couldn't go home because our home was in the middle of a border, and our 4 children were going to see their dad in a really, really terrible state. So I had 2 challenges. One I couldn't see, which is like now, really. The second challenge I had was that I couldn't walk. So every morning would start at my mum's house, me coming down the stairs on my bum, and when I got to the bottom of the stairs, I would meet Vicky, the physio. And her job was to try and teach me how to walk again. And I literally would do like that, about a half a step, 1.5 steps, 2 steps, 3 steps. Well done, James, across Mum's kitchen. And then often by the end of the day, I'd given up trying how to walk. And I would be crawling, girls, crawling, like a big baby. Crawling 6'1", here I am, wearing a nappy, age 40, 4 kids, meant to be becoming a head. And I would yell at Mum and I'd say, Mum, look at the state of me. And I remember my mum just looking back, and she said, it's all about taking small steps. Small steps. And guys, I will say, with my hand held high, small steps make a big difference. They make a big difference. And I think because of this sort of world, the digital world that we live in now, I think that often people can't be bothered with small steps. It's actually, come on, I want to get there straight away. So girls, from not being able to walk, I rode down the River Thames, I cycled from Bath to London, I rode across the Bristol Channel. Now, I don't say that to say, oh, it's amazing. I say that to say, where in your life can you say, I'm going to take a small step? When we take small steps, air goes in our balloon. Okay, moving on now to number 3. Oh, number 3, it's all about a positive attitude. I've got the word attitude there in capital letters because I want to say something to you about it. It's the way that we approach our lives, and it's a choice, girls. You can choose a good attitude. Sitting here, 10th of October, I think it is today, 2023, I decided from that moment in my life I was going to have a positive attitude. It's a choice, and it affects our level of hope. If we have a good attitude, we often have hope in life. But so many people don't have a positive attitude because they've had a setback. Now, girls, setbacks happen in life. They do. And when we have a setback, we want to reflect and refine. That's to say, okay, ask ourselves, why did that go wrong, that maths test? What can I learn from it and move forward? But what we often do is when something goes badly wrong, we define ourselves by it. So I define myself, oh, I'm James and I'm blind. Don't do that, because we only get one go at life, just one go. Let's reflect, let's refine, and then let's move forward. Move forward, and I love it when I meet my children's friends, because I'll always say to them, what would you one day love to do? I'd love to fly a plane, I'd love to dive to the bottom of the ocean. Dream a dream. Because what a dream does, it gives us a purpose. And do you know what the most important thing in life? Some people say it's exam results. I will say it's our attitude. It's our approach to life. And I'm going to show you one short clip, girls, if I can. And this is of an amazing little Australian man with no arms and no legs, but the most unbelievable attitude. Amazing little guy. And one thing he's taught me, girls, is always remember to be thankful for what you do have, and remember to be thankful for what you can do. And here you are at a lovely, lovely school in a lovely town, Bournemouth. We've got so many things to be thankful for. So many things. And actually often we need to compare what it is like for those young people that are living in Gaza at the moment, or maybe those young people who are in Ukraine somewhere. You think, goodness me, we've got food, we've got clothes, we've got teachers that care. We've got so much to be thankful for. So I think I have learnt. I remember my surgeon saying to me, James, to see you able to walk, to see you able to talk, that's a miracle. And then he said this to me, and I want you to remember this line. He said, James, always remember to be thankful for what you do have and can do. And I think that's a good attitude. Then finally, girls, it's all about creating a culture of belonging. A culture where every single girl in this terrific school belongs, feels like they're needed. Mother Teresa, who was made a saint when she died, she said this, that we need to belong as badly as the air that we breathe. So the air that we breathe, we need it. And in the same way, we need to belong. And the world today, let me say, is so diverse, so full of different shapes, sizes, creeds, colours. And that's the way the world is. And that's the way Talbot Heath should be as well. We're all different. So girls, I've got a challenge for you. And that is that you start to encourage one another. You start to encourage one another. I was saying to the younger girls yesterday, let's start to focus and dwell on what we each can do. Rather than actually recognising, oh, you can't do that, you can't do that. But let's focus on what each and every one can do. Look at my hands, girls. I want you girls to start to collaborate. That means work with each other. Not always in that posture of competition. Competition, I say, is best done against ourselves. Yeah, try and do better than you did last time. That's great. But actually competing against other people's sports day, fine. But that sense of, all the time. No, I'd say we want to work at collaborating. You're good at that. I saw you do that. I noticed that. That's good. That puts air in other people's balloons. And that's a really good school where we go around helping other girls to have inflated balloons. That's really, really good. So girls, that really brings me to the end of what I want to talk about. So what I'm going to do now is just sum up very briefly. So this balloon represents the way we feel about ourselves. If it's deflated like that, we don't feel great, do we? And there's nothing there to protect us. Like that bike tyre, and we go through potholes, it gets damaged. We get our sense of mental health gets attacked. So I want you girls to inflate your balloons. How do we do it? Firstly, we recognise that we're all clever. Question where? Where is it? Secondly, we all have a purpose. Question, what is our purpose? Thirdly, the challenge to move forward. Small steps do indeed make a big difference. Fourthly, our attitudes. And I have learned and been taught by that little Australian man. It's all about learning to be thankful for what you do have and can do. And finally, that culture where every single girl at Talbot Heath belongs and is needed. And what that will then lead to, girls, is this school being even better because we are all inflated with a sense of I can and I am. And do you want me to tell you some amazing piece of truth? That is the way it's meant to be. Because I have no doubt in saying that you all can and you all are of value. But sometimes the challenges, and it may be the challenge of social media, you go a bit light on social media. You kind of leave it out for a while. True friendship is a precious thing, girls. And having an inflated balloon is what we all want. So I wish you the very best of luck in getting that job done. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for sharing your inspiring story. And as you know, on Friday I shared the minor challenges I had to overcome. Obviously James has shared his major challenges in his life that he's had to overcome. And you will all encounter challenges of one sort or another in life. And I think that advice is fantastic about having a positive attitude and taking small steps and being really determined. So thank you very much.